Well, today is update day. They didn't even bother to preview anything for this update. It's already out. So we're gonna watch the trailer for the new animal, which is the highlight of the update because it's a small update. Majungasaurus, and then we'll check it out in game. It's probably the male and the female. That's definitely the male and the female. You can tell. I assume this is the Carno rig. No reason for it not to be. Okay. Quick comment. Apparently, these guys will eat babies that aren't theirs, which is a fun thing to give to a Majungasaurus. And here we have the full patch notes for the update. Majungasaurus is in. Fix the camera moving across the park when cycling through grid-based scenery pieces. Sure. Not now able to perform an undo action with a non-grid-based scenery piece while the decorative tab is open. Okay. Navigation highlight will no longer get stuck when reopening the scenery blueprint menu. So some very, 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 very minor bug fixes to like the camera, the undo, connected to specifically scenery pieces, and then some like stability improvements. Crashes, general performance and stability, inability to exit discard eggs pop up. Um, I had hoped for a little bit more for like the actual patch notes. The animals coming back is not terribly exciting because we already know about it, right? In a sense, and they're not new animals. But like seeing bug fixes to the game is the thing that would get me excited because currently the game has some issues. I guess the thing is they're not exactly bugs. They're really just content issues, i.e., the game is far too easy and is lacking in any feeling of like meaningful management. The parks run themselves, and all you can do is decorate, and that really is not. That's wearing thin on me already, which is not a good sign, right? I need a little bit more meat here in this game. So yeah, let's jump into the game and take a look. Now, I, of course, am a huge fan of Abelisaurs, so I am perfectly happy for this animal to come back. Um, Not what I expected. I expected a Tyrannosaurus, but this is still a Chaos Theory slash Camp Cretaceous animal. So that whole, hypothesis that those animals are coming out first is not gone. Let's look at the traits here first, real quick. We got offense and fitness, highly fit animal, 10 mods. I don't remember how that stacks up. Actually, let's pop back here real quick. Look at its info tab. Likes Quanju Carnotaurus. So I think this is what it liked in the previous game. Not unexpected that it would do this again. I wonder if it's, since it eats its own babies, you would assume it would eat Carno babies, making it not exactly optimal for a paddock mate if you're breeding your Carnos, I would imagine. Nothing new to get there from like the dislike, I don't think. Barren cover pasture, yeah. Two plus adult, and then nothing else. So a very open spread of population metrics. Silhouette of the juvenile. We're not going to bother breeding these. To see the juvenile, you should just be able to see the juvenile, really. It's weird that there's no species viewer, and the hatchery itself is more awkward to get into and doesn't offer you as many options. Look at the female first. Well, let's look at the dimorphism first. So the obvious thing is the horn and the spikes. So the little unicorn horn is much more noticeable on the male. The spines along the neck and the back are larger as well. This is another example of rather obvious dimorphism. Doesn't look like there's any difference in like the thickness of the neck on this one. I am A little bit curious if there's any like increased rugosity on the nose there. See, now that would be a kind of dimorphism we haven't really had as much. Without being able to position these close to the camera and switch between them with the camera resetting each time, it's really hard to tell if the nose is a little bit more bumpy on the male or if I'm like imagining it because I want it to be the case. I mean, it does look like there's like a nice lump there. Nice. Yeah, I think it is more lumpy, more like rugose on the nose. I like that. I like that it's not just obviously the unicorn horn, that there's a little bit of, additional kind of facial protection or ornamentation, as if maybe these guys were, smashing their faces together, as dudes do. Color check. I mean, this is probably all the base game colors from 2. Nice blue. It's still the pattern is still very much like the same bright splash of color on the eye and then the striping from 2, at least for the female. So nothing particularly different here. You can do some nice black and yellow. I was never like overly disappointed with the pattern on these guys. The big thing I kind of felt like was the little splash of color around the eye. Little disappointing that it didn't have more of a range of colors to it, like red, blue, orange, which is almost red, and those are the only options. Like maybe this one is actually a splash of like gray around the eye. Not even really. I mean, it is, but like, so it's gray, red, blue, orange. Like, why not give each of these patterns a different color for the eye? And on the male, basically the exact same colors, which is probably not unexpected. Then yeah, instead of the splash around the eye, now we have this like big facial ornamentation here on color. I like that the color is covering like that nasal rugosity and the little unicorn horn. I think that's good. The pattern, like the outline's a little weird. That feels a little strange. Oh, it's kind of just that one. Like this one doesn't look weird. Yeah, just this one has like a little brown outline around the stripe that doesn't really work for me on the red. But like, much in the same way the colors match on the patterns with the facial colors. If you don't like that red, you can just use this more like orangish red. You can do the yellow and orange again. That looks pretty okay. Or this one. Yeah, the blue is much better. That's a pretty good looking animal. Yeah, I mean like the color. See, this is a color dimorphism thing that I can really buy into is like the more brighter colored face. Nothing revolutionary here, but it seems like they did a decent job. Like Kentro felt really phoned in because it really felt like they just kind of copy pasted the animals and slowly changed the patterns. These are at least distinctively different. So that's something, that it's better than Kentro, which is maybe a low bar, but see, also like that, a nice like orangish red with some subtle, not super subtle, but like some not like super saturated striping. Like it's just more brown rather than just a flat black. It's a good natural look for a Mahjong. Yeah, and you could see a good example of how the female is much flatter, and this is a little spicier. Okay, I mean like this is about all I would have expected. Optimistically, this is all I would have expected them to do for the Mahjong. So I'm happy with this. Like I think this is good. Without like getting crazy and really creative on the dimorphism, which is just something they haven't really done. We really can't expect any more than this. All right, well, there it is. That's the showcase and discussion. There's my thoughts on this update. Game really needs more of a content update, so hopefully we don't have to wait too long for the next real patch. Um, and yeah, I guess I'll do another one of these next month for when Oranosaurus comes, or Nothosaurus, or Tarbosaurus. Well, it wouldn't be Noth or Tar because they're DLC animals, so it would be like Orano. Is there anything else we're missing that's base game from Camp Cretaceous? I don't think so. Pachyrhino is technically DLC, so well anyway, bye.